Great news. Dirty Keto is now on Amazon. If you're living in the U.S., go straight to Amazon and get Dirty Keto. Watch it, rate it, and review it. If you're outside of the U.S., meaning Western Europe or Canada or Mexico, it's not there yet. Don't ask me why. Listen, those people made me put a PG-13 rating on it when there was nothing in it that would have caused that. But let's get ahead of this thing. Let's watch it, rate it, and review it. Go get Dirty Keto right now, and on with the show.
Thanks for listening to Vinnie Tortorich on NSNG Lifestyle Audio. Welcome to the Fitness Confidential Podcast with Vinnie Tortorich, founder of NSNG, and co-host Gina Grad. Brought to you by PureVitaminClub.com, the world's purest vitamins.
I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed, just like the woman on the other mic. She comes in every Wednesday, whether we want her to or not. It's Miss Gina Grad.
If you smile at me, I will understand.
Yeah, Gina, I decided to go a little yacht rocky today with wooden ships.
I love that. And of course, everybody knows that that's Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't know that?
And everybody knows that they're one of your favorites. And it's not just you and David Allan Coe sitting in the corner sharing
Exactly. Sometimes we listen to you know what I listen to a lot sometimes when we're watching, I turn on music every night on the, Alexa.
Oh,
if I say it, she'll.
Yep, she appears like Beetlejuice.
Yeah. So, do you have that system in your house?
No, I don't like it. Get off my lawn with that.
Yeah. Serena has it around the house, and she's got every light hooked up to it and whatever. And I was with you, right? It's like I don't need this in my life. But we have it, and when I'm washing dishes, like last night I had the OJs on.
Oh.
Sometimes it's one Mr. Barry White.
Oh, sure it is.
Or
Silky smooth.
Mr. Teddy P.
Oh, you're trying to get seduced while you're washing dishes.
Yeah, sometimes I'm seducing myself. I got to be careful. And then sometimes, like we were playing Chris Stapleton. Sometimes it's like a Chris Stapleton.
Sure.
Sometimes it's Kid Rock.
Oh, my goodness.
Sometimes it's Willie Nelson.
Eclectic.
Sometimes it's the Bee Gees.
And I could even see for you, sometimes it might even be classical music.
Oh, no. Usually not there.
Oh, okay.
But in my office when I'm working.
Sure.
I have old style stereo that's wired in.
Of course.
Around my office.
Yeah.
With like the really good speakers and stuff.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, all this stuff today, the Sonos and the whole thing, there's not, I got the clips or whatever they call them and the this and the that and the whole thing. And I got 1 million watts, like old school.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't afford it when I was young, but now it's cheap and you get the best stuff, right? I got stacks. I got the big giant, they're like 4 feet tall.
Stop it.
I'm not kidding. And I have them up here in the rafters so that when I'm on my bike or whatever, I can turn off the ones in the front, just have the ones in the back, and they're right over my ears.
You're a genius.
And it doesn't cost a lot because it's the old school stuff.
Yep.
Right?
That is awesome.
But I'll have all of those speakers on, around the room, and I just get bathed in symphonies, Rachmaninoff, you name it.
I'm not surprised even a little bit.
You name it. Every concerto you can probably think of. Yeah, I just go for it.
Yeah. I knew that was somehow on your list.
Oh, big time. So, when I need to be inspired, I'll have Bolero going at it, just whatever.
Wow.
But I have to have music on all the time.
You do. Yeah. Well, there's always music playing in your head. It'd be nice if it was the rest of us could hear it.
You don't want to know what goes on in my head, Gina. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, I do want to know what goes on in your head because you're the one we look to for answers on several things. Mm-hmm. So there's a couple things I want to bring up. Some might be sort of duh, and some might be sort of huh, and some might be sort of just something we need a reminder of.
All right.
It's hot. It's humid in a lot of places. We're schwitzing. It's too much. And because of the sweating and stuff, I personally don't want to feel bloated. So I'm always told, stay away from salt, stay away from salt, stay away from salt. Okay. But why does nobody talk about, or unless I've got this wrong, why does nobody talk about how much water you end up retaining from carbs?
Because you can't get one dietitian or one company to tell you that anything is wrong with a carb. Number one. Let's start with salt and we'll work our ways to carbs.
Okay.
Can we do it in that?
Yeah, because everyone always says, oh, low salt, low salt, low salt.
Okay. The only time salt becomes an issue is if you have too much salt to water ratio.
Okay.
So let's say you're out there and where you live in the valley, the heat, the whole thing. I used to ride bikes. So think about it. I'm a guy who would get out there in the summer in the mountains, the whole thing. It's 110, 112 out there. Gina, can you confirm that?
I can vouch for that.
Okay. I was able to get on the bike at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning when it was 92.
Yeah, it's not cold by any stretch.
Right. And by the time the sun comes up, it goes up to, I'm exaggerating it. At night, it's like 80.
I was going to say it's probably low 80s.
Yeah, which is warm.
Yes.
And I'm riding a bike, and then when the sun comes up, the 80 goes to 85 to 89 pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. Before you know it, it's in the 90s, and by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, you could be at 105, 108, 112, right? Yeah. So how was a guy like me able to go all day long, right?
Superpower.
That and electrolytes. And I'm not talking about Gatorade or like something like Element or Noom or any of the stuff. Sports. All right. Because that's nothing but sugar. You might as well just have Kool-Aid and call it a day. You're not getting any real electrolytes. There were products I took back then before I made my product, like Salt Sticks or the other one was S-Caps. They're similar to mine. You take a capsule and it's got what you need. What makes mine different is we refine the formula. So basically I reverse engineered sweat. So exactly what you're losing, you're putting back in.
Ratio wise.
Yeah. And look, I'm not that smart. I hired guys from Amgen. What
do they know?
Yeah. Best scientists in the world, right?
Yeah.
Right down the street, Amgen, you give them a couple of $1,000s, they'll sit there and help you tinker with a formula, right? So that's what I did. So I was using these other products, and these other products have excipients and flow agents, but they work very well, right? That's why I tell people, if you're not using my product, Ultrasalt, use Salt Stick. It's the closest thing to it. But why use the second best when you can have the best? Okay.
Good point.
Enough of me selling my shit.
And but we always think, oh, no, don't do salt. Salt will bloat me. What are you talking about?
But what you do is the reason a Vinny is able to go 15 hours on the bike, and a lot of Vinnies out there that do ultra runs and ultra rides, we figured out that as long as you're getting enough electrolytes to water ratio. So I can tell you with Ultrasalt, for every capsule you take, somewhere around 15 ounces of water, up to 20 ounces, you're going to keep your electrolytes going with water at a good rate. Once you get up to 22, 25, if it's really hot, you can take 2 to every 25 ounces of water. As long as you're getting water, you're replenishing what you're losing, and you won't get muscle cramps. You get zero energy, folks, from electrolytes. Zero energy. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. It's not a macronutrient. It's not like a protein, carbohydrate, or a fat. There's zero energy there. But think of it this way. Let's go to the car.
Yeah.
Where does the energy come from in a car?
This isn't where I shine, but I'm going to say the engine. Gasoline.
You put gasoline in, and that gives you the energy.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what keeps the engine from seizing up?
Coolant.
That keeps it from getting too hot.
Oil.
Oil.
Oh, God. Oh, I didn't have any more guesses in me. Thank God.
There was only three fluids you put in the car besides windshield wiper fluid. So you were right there. Well, I guess you have transmission fluid, too, which is different.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten there. Don't worry.
Okay, oil. So electrolytes, gas is the food you take in that you use when you exercise. Electrolytes, that's the oil. That keeps you from seizing up, from cramping up.
Interesting.
It keeps your muscles working when most people would go, oh, my God, it's too hot. I'm going to die out here.
And okay, so I'm begging for the most layman's of layman's, because as you know, my husband just gets up and on a whim decides to go run marathons, and then you put him on sort of an ultra salt regimen, which is very helpful.
Right.
But he's a schwitzer. Oh, does he sweat? I mean, he sweats in a big giant heart shape, which is always fun. But when he's a sweater. And so does that mean that if he goes on a long run in the heat and he doesn't take Ultrasalt, everything he's sweating out is just evaporates into thin air, and he's basically running with no oil in his body?
You're right. So if he goes for 90 minutes or so,
yeah, and he does,
he will be fine.
Yeah.
It's when you go past that kind of 90-minute mark in that kind of heat.
How many years before we knew you that he was running marathons with nothing?
Right. And that's when, of course, in marathons, they keep giving you water. So that can carry you through, but you're not going to be optimal.
Right.
Right. Think about the people that run the Badwater 135.
No, thank you.
They start out, it's 122 degrees. This year, they just ran it, 122 degrees, right? When they're in Panamint Valley or Death Valley or any of, going up Father Crowley, the temperature average is over 110 the whole time, right? How do people go 24, 30, 36, up to 48 hours to finish? They can do it because they're we sponsored that race, as you know, for 7 years. Because they know the water to salt ratio to keep going. See, you can fight back from a bunk. You get a bunk from not having energy. If your blood sugar goes too low, you can fight back from that. You cannot fight back from dehydration. You get dehydrated, you now need to go to the hospital. So these people are operating and running for 36 hours nonstop.
Oh my God.
40 hours nonstop. How do they do that?
This becomes, potentially life and death.
Water and salt ratio. Now, at the end of the race, some of them, their ankles look like cankles. They start to swell up and this and the whole thing. And a lot of people say, oh, it's because I was on my feet for this number of hours, that number. Whenever I used to do the cycling thing, like you would see people on the second day, like you're going for, now you're past 24 hours, their calves would start swelling up, their knees, their whole legs start to look like a stovepipe, all kind of one size.
Yeah.
They would start, and they would go, oh, it's because I'm hanging on to water because of all the salt we're taking.
Sure.
No. Because when I was a carb user, I would get some of that too. Mine never got really bad. But when I went away from carbs and only used fats on those races and in training, you could see my sinewy calves and every bone in my ankles and everything all the way to the finish line. I never bloated with all the salt and water I was taking. When I cut carbs out, I quit bloating.
So that is, what I'm assuming you're saying is that is 100% or the majority inflammation.
Inflammation.
It's not water retention.
So let's do a little, I'm going to do a little word thing here with you, Gina.
Okay.
What's the whole word for carb?
Carbohydrate.
Okay. What does hydrate mean?
hydrate. Never thought about that.
So you see, Gatorade will tell you, you can hydrate better by having sugar and salt. That's why
it's right
we
in
do
the
it.
name.
Right.
Yeah, carbohydrates.
But what happens is it starts causing inflammation, and it's still pulling the water out of your muscle cells and moving it into the blood in a certain way to where you now can cramp again from having too much carbohydrate. That is correct.
Oh, yeah, and
But-
you have a dog that is very angry about it.
Yeah, that's Trixie up there causing trouble. Trixie doesn't understand how I make a living. Yeah.
Wait. You mean the baby?
Yeah.
Snoopy?
Yeah, that's
oh,
the trick.
My goodness. With the big, powerful lungs, of course.
Oh, she's got it figured out.
She has no idea that she's half the size of the other ones or a quarter of the size.
Oh, she throws herself at Bonzo, it just like a kamikaze.
Love it so much.
And she launches and lands up on her back, backs up and goes again.
I love those little dogs.
Unbelievable.
Anyway, sorry. So, okay, I don't know if it's different between your product and like other products, but just because I don't have the bottle in front of me, I could in 10 seconds. But what is the correct ratio for us who are not bad water runners? We're just out there in the heat. Like, okay, let's put it this way. Let's say, it's summer, you got a kid, you're trying to find something to do. You're taking them to the amusement park. You're going to Six Flags or Disneyland or whatever. And it is hotter than a pizza oven. And we're going to be out there for 10 hours. What would the right ratio be like with an ultra salt?
Okay. Your kid is too small for me to know.
But like for the adults.
Okay, so for adults, for every 15 ounces of water you drink, up to 20, you take one ultra salt.
Okay.
And by the way, go on, ask.
Well, I was going to say, sometimes you can swallow it and sometimes you can just pour it in the water bottle.
I usually open mine up and pour it in the water bottle. Now, what happens is the elements that are too heavy fall to the bottom, so you have to do a swirl and a shake before you go down with it. Now, what happens is if you make soda stream water or something like that, and you pour it in there, because it's gaseous water, it will hold a lot of the elements in the water.
Oh, and then you get a fizzy delight.
This is me being like a scientist, just telling you all, like Neil deGrasse tells you all about interesting things.
I love Vinny deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, Vinny deGrasse Tyson.
So don't be as afraid of salt as we've been told to be.
Don't be afraid of salt at all. There was a phrase that it used to be, you're worth your salt.
Right.
Salt, we need salt to live. And go on.
Well, you had some quote, and I don't want to say it wrong, but it was mind-blowing to me. Something about how we blame salt for like sugar's problems. Yeah.
And there's been books written about it. We blame salt for what sugar did. Right?
That's it.
So doctors will say, oh, you have high blood pressure. You got to go on a low salt diet. Now,
salt.
Going on a low sodium diet means like all these crappy junk foods have high sodium, which is not to be confused with actual salt.
Right.
Right. But you have sodium, and what else do you have in junk food? You have a lot of carbohydrates.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So again, you're going to blame salt for what sugar is doing and what carbohydrates are doing. By the way, I want to go back to my product for just 1 second.
Please.
Before my product was out, there were two other products that I used to tell people to take on the market. One is Salt Sticks. They still make a good product. One is called S's and Sam S Caps. They make a great product. Those are the only other two products that I'm aware of that I would tell people to take if they weren't taking ultra salt. So you say, well, Vinny, why would you talk about, it's like, I'm just telling you the truth here in this podcast.
Yeah.
I can only think of 3 great products out there, and mine is one of them.
Yeah.
Right? And here's the thing. Why is mine better? Well, we don't put excipients and flow agents, which they do.
Me?
Excipients and flow. So, they'll put, things that you don't need, like, magnesium stearate or something like that. That's not needed in the product.
Okay.
We don't put any fillers. We just put We don't put any sand either, which they would call silica. in the front.
Sand?
Yeah, vitamins.
Silica, like the little thing you find in your shoes or your purse when you buy it?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So we don't put anything other than the real product in there, number one. Number two, we literally reverse engineered sweat with the product. And folks, I'm not that smart. I hired 2 chemists from Amgen.
Oh, nothing.
But look, when I say I'm making the best vitamins in the world, the best supplements in the world, I'm not messing around. I am not messing around. That product, look, there's a reason why we were the sponsor for Badwater.
It's amazing.
The hottest race on the planet, probably the toughest foot race on the planet for like 6-7 years.
Incredible.
Is because Ultrasalt, and you see people, if you went to Twitter right now, people are going, oh my God, there's a guy, his name is Ken, and he's a UPS driver. These guys are sweating all day long.
Oh, sure.
And he runs marathons on top of that.
Oh,
If we were out of Ultrasalt, he would lose his mind. There are people that are that ravenous about that product.
And on top of that, because, this is like a whole lifestyle, I'll never forget when you told me when you were sponsoring Badwater or one of the Ironman things, and you were alongside, in a truck or whatever, in a van next to your runner, giving them like cold cuts.
Yeah.
Not goo sticks and not, sugar, but cold cuts.
That was Tony Patera. Yeah. And we would take the healthiest cold cuts you can get, not like bologna. We had good stuff. Like, we went to the deli and we got pastrami, thinly sliced. We got gabagoo. We got everything thinly sliced, the good stuff.
Yeah.
And then we got real cheeses.
Oh.
And whenever he got hungry, we would take the cheese, wrap the gabagoo around it, hand it to him, and he would eat it.
Oh, you weren't just giving him handfuls of trail mix?
No trail mix. And by the way, Tony's one of these guys, he never sits down during the race. He finished in 33 hours and was on his feet the whole time. And as a matter of fact, his daughter, who was enamored with Serena, she was in the car with us crewing, right? Sometimes the kids like to go. So it was me and Serena and his daughter, and he saw Serena. Serena does a thing where she'll take a pear, and she thinly slices the pear. It almost looks like, shaved. 10%. Yeah, you can almost see through it. Think of like shaved meat, like what do you call that?
Like Korean style, like the.
No, Italian style.
Prosciutto.
No, we call it Italian word. Come on, when you get the.
I'm not Italian.
Meat, all right. Okay.
Well, I was thinking like Korean barbecue with like that shaved
meat. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's going to drive you insane.
Anyway, Serena would shave, the pear.
Pear.
And then put a piece of manchego on it.
Oh, the best.
Now, you want to take it to a third level?
Yes, please.
When I do it at home, I'll get a little thin slice of pear, and you're having fruit. Trust me, there's not enough sugar in this to do anything.
It's like as thin as a piece of paper.
You get the pear, you put the cheese on top, and then I put a little bit of the Maldon salt. Okay.
Killing me.
You're welcome.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And I love manchego.
The daughter saw Serena doing it. She says, what are you doing over there? A little 12-year-old girl interested in Serena, right? And Serena goes, oh, I just put the Tony told me his daughter still eats that.
Oh, I love that.
Still, the girl's grown now. It was 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Wow.
And still doing it. Yeah.
That's great. The Badwater snack. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So lots to learn, lots to reframe. And in some ways, in all ways, I have to look at salt the way I used to look at fat until you reframed it for me. Because I think, well, maybe it's not as bad as I thought. And you said, no, it's not bad. But it's salt. Salt bloats. And when we have heart problems, the doctor says low salt diet. And even, hospitals put you on a low salt diet. And, but they'll give you a big plate of buttered noodles and toast, while you're recuperating, but it'll be low salt.
Nothing sounds worse. Gina, I can't even begin to think what hospitals are doing. It's just...
I saw it. And the other thing is, it was funny because, my dad, God rest his soul, really, as you know, took his health very seriously. Mm-hmm. And one time he passed out because of low electrolytes. That's what they realized was wrong with him. So the doctor told him, never leave your house, never not have this on you. Always have a Powerade. Always be drinking a blue, talk about coolant. It looks like antifreeze. Yeah. Oh, and Dad, are you sure you're supposed to? Oh, the doctor said electrolytes, got to have my Powerade. They said Powerade, I drink Powerade.
Look, I had a neighbor, guy down the street, a good friend. He went to a country club with this other guy. He went for the day and he passed out. And they got him up and the whole thing. He came home. He took his blood pressure. His blood pressure was almost zero. The guy was almost dead. And they rushed him to the hospital and they put him on a pacemaker, right? Mm. And, I said, why didn't you call me? Mm. And he goes, well, I knew you weren't home. And I was like, yeah, but if you had called me, I would have told your wife to dump as much salt and water, swill it down, and get it down you as fast as possible to try to help raise that a bit, get something going, right? But, he lived and now he's on a pacemaker. But, yeah, we need salt. This is a salt episode, I guess.
Yeah.
This is where we are. Yeah.
And, like anything else, like you're not into, you say when you're thirsty, drink water. You're not into like all this, crazy water drinking. And I guess it's the same thing with salt. It's like everything, not to be glib to say everything in moderation, but it's like you're not a horse. You're not going to be just licking on a salt cube all day. Just eat an SNG and stop being distracted by these side arguments and these side distractions. I think is probably.
Let me nail the end of this show shut with this.
Stick the landing.
Just like Simone. When people go low carb, and they truly go low carb, within a few days, 6-7 days, they start to get what some people call the keto flu, the Atkins flu, you name it. What that is their body, when they go off of all the carbs, their body finally lets loose. It finally goes, and it loses the inflammation. And because of that, your body, they find themselves peeing around the clock. They have a headache because, and the first thing you should do, get more salt in you, drink more water, more salt, take electrolytes, not sugary electrolytes, but something like an ultra salt. I tell people when they start, have this on hand. Start drinking a lot of water immediately. Take more salt. Have bone broth with extra salt in it. Salt, salt, salt. That's what saves these people and get them past the keto flu. Gina, you've known me for
many years, almost a decade.
Mm. Have I ever looked bloated to you?
No.
Has my face ever looked bloated?
No.
You've seen me without a shirt on, as Reddit would tell you.
It is a thing to behold.
Yeah. Do I look bloated at all?
No.
And I have nothing but salt around the clock.
Incredible.
And I'm not special.
Yeah.
I'm far from special. I would call myself average or below as a human being. And there you have it.
And so for all you people who are low salt but high carb going, why am I bloated? Why am I bloated? We sure hope Vinny answered your question.
Yeah. So there you have it. Gina, she's got, let me see if I can stick the landing again.
Oh, 2 for 2.
Gina has grain-free comfort food. You can find that over on Instagram. She also has Gina Grad on Instagram. That was an easy one. Yeah. But she has 3 accounts. My Extra Family Instagram. Right. Now, there's a book. Now, to get this book, you go to VinnyTortorich.com, you click through the Amazon banner, and you get the book. and it's called My Extra Mom. Is Gina? What are you doing over there? Oh, Gina's dying over there. My Extra Mom on Instagram. So go get that book by going to VinnyTortorich.com. While you're there, my movie is now out, Dirty Keto. Let's keep it rocking and rolling. You want Dirty Keto.
Yes.
Right now. Go get it. Go buy it, rent it, what have you. Consume it, rate and review it. While you're at it, rate and review this podcast.
Takes 10 seconds. Mm-hmm. Makes a big difference.
So, on behalf of Gina Grad, my name is Vinny Tortorich. Put life in living, and let's do it with a little bit more of Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Oh, no Young in the song. Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
See by your coat, friend, you're from the other side. Just one thing I got to know. Can you tell me, please? One. Say, can I have some of your purple belly?
Thank you for listening to Fitness Confidential. Get more information at VinnyTortorich.com. Remember to rate and review us on iTunes and follow Vinny on Instagram and Twitter.